Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. I'm glad you made it to another day. And today we're making pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. And I have a cup of chocolate chips, one egg, a half a, a half a cup of sugar, brown sugar, a half a cup of white sugar, one stick of butter, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of allspice, um, a, ha- a fourth teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a cup of pumpkin, and 1 3/4 cups of flour. So in this bowl, we're going to mix the flour, the salt, the baking powder, baking soda, baking powder, the pumpkin spice, cinnamon, and that's it. So we're gonna mix this together. Mix this together. And set it aside, okay? Put that aside. So in this bowl, okay, and I forgot the vanilla, okay? So we need 1 teaspoon of vanilla. One teaspoon of vanilla. Put that there. Okay. So in this bowl, I'm gonna move this over here. We're just gonna need the butter, the stick of butter, we need every butter, we need all this butter, okay? Stick of butter, and I'm gonna do it by hand for now, and the sugar, okay? I'm gonna mix it because I don't feel like bringing out that big mixer. So mix it by hand, and I'm going to use the spatula. That's what I should have did before. Making the cookies. So now I'm going to add, let me mix this some more. And then we're going to add the pumpkin.
It don't taste the same as if you made it from scratch.
And we're going to add the vanilla. Okay? So now I'm going to use the spatula. I mean the whisk. I'm going to use the whisk. So now I'm going to add the flour to that mixture using the spatula now, and you fold it in. And I have the oven set at 350. Look how nice that is. And I have my pan all set. I get my parchment paper. Parchment paper. I just gotta make sure all the flour is folded in. Now we're gonna add the chocolate chips. And I'm using dark chocolate chips. You can use, if you wanted to use milk chocolate, you can. Okay, so I'm going to have my scoop, and I'm going to start scooping out my cookies. Okay, so I have the small scoop, and I'm going to, here we go. This should make a dozen cookies. It's making more than a dozen. These are gonna make small cookies. Okay. All right, so that's the chocolate chip cookies. And I'm gonna put them in the oven, okay? For about 15 minutes. Okay, I'm about to take the cookies out the oven. They're done. Look at that. Beautiful cookies. And they're nice and soft. They're not, you know, because of the look at that. See? Beautiful. Nice and soft. I'm going to wait for it to cool. And then I'm going to pan it up. Okay? Pumpkin oatmeal, pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. Maybe I should make some pumpkin oatmeal cookies. That'll be nice. So yeah. I'm going to wait for it to cool and then plate it up for you. Okay, the cookies are nice. They're nice and cool. I have to invest in a cookie rack. Cookies, pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. I'm gonna break one in half. Oh. And look how nice and moist that is. It's good. Cookies. So I'm back, and this is for the pumpkin bread. I have 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, white sugar. I have 15 ounces of pumpkin puree, a teaspoon of baking powder, I mean a half a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, a half a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of nutmeg, and a teaspoon of ground clove, 2 eggs, and a stick and a half of butter. So in this bowl here, we're going to add the flour. Okay, we're going to add the baking powder, salt, baking soda, cinnamon, nutmeg, and ground clove. Okay. All right. So we're going to mix this together. And set aside. Mix it together and set it aside. Okay? You can put it here. So, this bowl now, we're going to add, let's do this. put you here, but that's last. Okay. We're gonna add the butter, and we're gonna do it by hand again. Butter. And the 2 cups of sugar. Okay? And I have my loaf pans here, all ready to go. And that's it. I have the oven at 350 still. And the cakes will bake about 35 to 40 minutes. Okay. So now I'm going to add 1 egg at a time. Add 1 egg at a time, and we're going to beat. It's the second egg. And it's supposed to get light and fluffy. Good arm exercise. Okay. So now I'm going to add the pumpkin puree. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla, because I love vanilla. Brings out the flavor in everything. See, that's the pumpkin. And if you wanted, you could put chocolate chips in it. You can put pecans. You can put walnuts, raisins. But we're just making plain pumpkin bread. Now I'm going to add the flour mixture. I'm going to fold that in. And again, if you wanted, because I couldn't find, because I wanted to buy a big pumpkin and roast it myself and use that, but I couldn't find any more. But you can use the ones in the can. That's what I'm using, and I'm using Libby's, and I think that's the best one. All right, so everything is folded in properly. All the flour. And I'm going to spray my pans, my loaf pans. And I use this spray release for baking. If you can't find that in the supermarkets, just grease your pan with butter and then flour and shake the flour off. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to use I'm going to do a So I'm scraping all of that good stuff out. I'm not trying to leave anything behind. Okay. Okay. So You want that to clean that up. In the oven at 350 for 35 to 40 minutes. Okay? I'm going to take the pumpkin bread out of the oven. And that looks wonderful. Turn the oven off. Let it cool. Let me see about these sides. Oh yeah. Woo! Okay. I need to put it in a plate. I don't have a oh no. That part came up. I guess they didn't have enough flour. Sometimes that happens. Let me see. That's why I was shaking it to see if it came apart. So let's try this one. It's hot. Here we go. Still. So the bottom did come out pretty good. You know, the bottom stuck to it. I should have put parchment paper on there. But it looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do, so you can just see the top of the cake, of the bread. Because the bottom don't look, I don't like how the bottom looks. Okay. My pumpkin bread. I know I'm not supposed to cut it, but just want to show you how it looks inside. Because it's a little hot. Ooh! Look at that. It's nice. And that's good. Oh my gosh, that is delicious.